You're listening to The Lyndia Grant Show. Think on these things with Lyndia Grant.
Thank you for tuning in to The Lyndia Grant Show. I'm so happy that you've joined us today. This is the month of June 2024, and every week we have some dynamic guests on. And Dr. Julianne Malvo is going to be here with us every week unless she's on travel to talk about politics and the economy. This week, my second guest will be a longtime friend that I met during my speaker training under Les Brown, and Willie Jolly was working with us as well. It was the Les Brown Platinum Speakers, and I met Pierre during that time. He is a motivational speaker and a bodybuilder and singer and does a whole lot of stuff, photography. So he's going to talk to us today because a deer ran out in front of him just like suddenly while he was riding his motorcycle, and he got severely injured. He almost did not make it. So he's going to talk about that and tell his story today. But first, we're going to go to Dr. Julianne Malvo, who is a speaker extraordinaire. She might be anywhere in the world, and I love that. And people enjoy hearing her. And I'm so grateful that she has partnered up with my radio show as long as she can. And she is past president of Bennett College, and she is a president emeritus, past press dean of Cal State Los Angeles. And so I just want you all to pay attention. She's going to talk about what's going on in politics and the economy. Dr. Julianne.
Well, Lyndia, thank you and congratulations on your 15 years of being on the air. That's quite an accomplishment, and I hope you're able to do it 15 more if you want to.
Thank you.
If you want to. Now, it is crazy time in Washington right now as far as I'm concerned. Real crazy time, especially with the Republicans in the House of Representatives who are just behaving extraordinarily badly. Marjorie Taylor Greene, well, we don't have a behavioral standard for her, but she's on the House Energy and Commerce Committee. They oversee all of the health committees of the United States. So Health and Human Services report to them. Many others report to them. They had Dr. Anthony Fauci there, and it was more of a witch hunt than a hearing. They went after him with all four. It was horrible. They claimed that he had lied about the origins of COVID. They claimed that they had manufactured COVID in a laboratory. He held his own. Dr. Fauci is 83 years old, but he came at her like a 21-year-old. He said, that's just preposterous. He said, that's just preposterous. They want to re-adjudicate COVID, which is ridiculous. We know that COVID was real. The science was not precise. It was not precise at all, and we know that. We didn't know enough about COVID. So one of the things she attacked him on was that they had said we had to stay 6 feet apart. And she said there was no scientific evidence to prove that. Well, there was scientific evidence to prove that we could infect each other if, as an example, you're speaking and spittle comes out of your mouth and goes on to somebody else. So anyway, it was just crazy. But that was Monday. Then on Tuesday, the Judiciary Committee got Merrick Garland, the House Judiciary Committee, chaired by Jim Jordan. That could have been, it really wasn't, it was ridiculous. What they want, what the Judiciary Committee wants, is the tapes from when the Department of Justice fellow interviewed President Biden and concluded that the president was an elderly man with a poor memory. Now, lots of people have challenged that. But anyway, that was his conclusion, and that was part of his reason, he said, for not bringing charges to President Biden. And, of course, you know, in the political context, it's because the former president has some documents he didn't refuse to turn over. They had to go get them. That was not the case with Biden. In any case, they dogged Dr. Fauci out. They kept asking, why wasn't he? And he said, I'm not going to turn over these tapes. You have the transcript. That's it. And he told them, I will not be intimidated. Because they said they would convict him of contempt of Congress. He said, go, that all you got? Is that all you got?
Do it.
You know, he was not hearing it, feeling it, and he was not kowtowing to them one bit. So, but these are two hearings. In both hearings, Democrats basically there were Democrats who basically sided with Merrick Garland, raised questions for him, and ditto with Dr. Fauci. Marjorie Taylor Greene, by the way, would not call Dr. Fauci doctor. She kept calling him Mr. Her chairman instructed her twice to call him doctor, and she said, I'm not going to do it. You know, she's just like, I don't know, we're not going to even go there. She needs help. But that's but in both cases, Democrats said, is this what we're wasting our time on? You know, the only reason to talk about COVID now is to prevent another occurrence. That's the only reason to talk about COVID. No reason to talk about who made what mistake, because we didn't know what we were doing. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. Now, you know, I deliberately did not begin with what many would consider the hottest news, and that's the fact that we have a felon in chief. I have a friend who likes, well, he doesn't anymore, he's old now, but he used to go in and out of jail for this little offense and that little offense, and at some point he got a couple of felonies, and spent some serious time. But he called me over the weekend and he said, Trump has more felonies than me. I said, what are you, bragging? But he said he just wanted me to know the president of the United States was a bigger criminal than he is. Well, yes, the former president has 34 felonies. So I call him the felon in chief. Now, he will never be treated like other felons are treated, but just to give our listeners a sense of felons, there are about 18 million felons in the United States. There is a very elaborate set of laws that govern everything from where they can work, who they can associate with, all of that. They cannot associate with other felons, or they're not supposed to. But who else do you associate with? Nobody else wants to associate with them, just saying. But anyway, neither here nor there. Felons cannot leave the country without permission of their probation officers. There are 38 countries that do not allow felons to come into their borders. And those include the United States and Canada, United Kingdom and Australia, New Zealand. It's a long list, Lyndia. So if that thing is reelected, I mean, some countries will have to give him special dispensation to come in their countries. India is included. Kenya, South Africa, 38 countries where felons cannot go. There are certain jobs felons can't do. They train you to be a barber in jail, but many states will not allow you to get a barbering license if you're a felon. And I could go on and on and on. The point is that felons have their movements and everything else restricted. But because of his wealth and his status, this is not likely to happen to the former president. The judge, however, can sentence him to jail. He could be sentenced up to 4 years in jail. He could be, I don't think he can be fined, but he could be sentenced up to 4 years in jail. Actually, it could be more if the sentences went consecutively as opposed to concurrently. So he could, I doubt that he'll go to jail. He may go a little while because think of the logistics with the Secret Service. By the way, he couldn't even be on the Secret Service as a felon. So the Secret Service will have to make accommodations for him. But that's what he is. He is a felon. He can appeal it all he wants to. From now until he appeals, he's a convicted felon. Now, we are in the political season, and, of course, Mr. Trump's sentencing hits just a few days before the Republican National Convention. So many people are calling this dirty pool, saying, you know, this is not fair, gives it a bad look. I don't think he cares because his base really is gleeful about his defiance. They really enjoy it. So the fact that he is maybe going to jail makes them happy. So just saying. In any case, this is going to play itself out as it goes on. Want to quickly talk about actions that President Biden made on Tuesday. He issued an executive order. Some people are calling it border security on steroids. It will limit the number of people who can come into the country to an average of 2,500 per day per week. When it goes well below that to 1,500, more people can come in. But right now, he stopped it at 2,500. And the ACLU says they're going to sue The Latino community is very angry about this. Many people are very angry about this. The Human Rights community is very angry. Some people come here out of fear. They come because they're afraid they might be assassinated, killed, something in their country. There is a fear exemption. So if they get over the 2,500 and some comes and say, I'm going to be assassinated, but then you have a much more elaborate process to go through. Mexico has agreed to take some of the people that the United States says that we won't take. So we'll see what happens with that. But speaking of Mexico, Mexico has a new president. She is a woman. Her name is Claudia Sheinbaum, first woman president, first Jewish president of Mexico. She's exciting. But what's very interesting is that Mexico, Canada, and the United States, the three Northern American countries, most people would think of the United States or Canada as being the most progressive. But Mexico, with its macho culture, was the first one out there. So it's just something very interesting to look at, to pay attention to, and we'll be watching President Sheinbaum as she attempts to especially deal with the crime issue in Mexico.
All right.
Do I have a little more time?
No, I think that's it, Dr. J. Thank you. That's my clock says 12 minutes, so thank you.
All righty. I used up my time.
All right.
Okay.
We're going to talk to you next week. Now we're going to go to a commercial break, and we'll be back in a moment.
If it wasn't for my care coach at AmeriHealth, I probably wouldn't be so healthy right now. As a man, we don't get checkups or see a doctor regularly anyways. It's probably just a man thing because none of my partners go either. We know we should, but we just don't, and hope it works out.
So what changed for you?
AmeriHealth assigned me a care coach, somebody that gives one-on-one help, answer questions, explain things, and help set my appointments. She also helped me understand what having high blood pressure really means and ways to manage it so it doesn't kill me. It ain't nothing to play with. If you're a member of AmeriHealth, ask for a care coach. I'm glad I got mine.
At AmeriHealth, if you need a care coach, you can have one. Just call us at 1-877-759-6224 to get connected. 1-877-759-6224. This program is funded in part by the government of the District of Columbia Department of Healthcare Finance. Mayor Muriel Bowser.
Washington Informer religion columnist Lyndia Grant.
Rosa Parks refused to give up her seat on a segregated Montgomery bus. In lectures on brotherhood, Ms. Parks often said, "People always say that I didn't give up my seat because I was tired. But that wasn't true. I was not tired physically. I was not old. I was 42. No, the only tired I was tired of giving in." Driven out of Montgomery by harassment and death threats, Detroit, Michigan became her new home. Rosa Parks will always be remembered as the mother of the civil rights movement. Raised in the AME church, she once said, "I remember finding such comfort and peace while reading the Bible."
Read more in the religion column of the Washington Informer, an award-winning African-American newspaper. We don't report crime or gossip, just positive news. Pick up the Washington Informer or visit us online at washingtoninformer.com. Call 202-561-4100 for more information.
This is Frank Smith with the African American Civil War Museum in Washington, D.C., located at 1925 Vermont Avenue Northwest on the Green Line. Did you know that a recent study found that children who visit museums do better in school and in life than children who do not? So parents, teachers, and preachers, let's get moving. I promise you, if you bring your children to the African American Civil War Museum, they will be inspired by the images that they see. They will be impressed by our living history reenactors who are always available, and they will be involved in our scavenger hunt that takes them throughout our exhibit. That's the African American Civil War Museum, 1925 Vermont Avenue. Our hours are 10 to 6:30 on weekdays, 12 to 4 on Saturdays and Sundays. See it. Be inspired.
Thank you for listening to the Lyndia Grant Show. Now for part 2. We are back from our commercial. We're going to now talk to our second guest, Pierre Parker. Pierre is a friend that I've known now for probably more than 20 years. He is a personal trainer, master bodybuilder. He's a licensed massage therapist and a musician who has 5 albums on YouTube and iTunes. Currently, he's about to release a new album, his 6th, and it's called Hero's Journey. He also does photography as a hobby. And Pierre loves motivational speaking, which is where I met him. We were all trained under world-renowned motivational speaker Les Brown. So Pierre, and he came to my church as a part of a motivational group one time. Pierre, how are you today? And thank you for being on.
I'm doing great, and thank you for allowing me to be on, Lyndia. It was so great to hear from you and hear you again.
Yes, I had seen on Facebook where Pierre had been in a severe motorcycle accident. And that's why I had him come on, because that's the kind of thing us motivational speakers love to talk about, how God saved us and how he's still coming around and doing things. And so I want you to tell them about that motorcycle accident, Pierre, and how you're doing now, and how you got a new album coming out.
Okay. Well, yes. Back in August, I was in a really bad motorcycle accident. I was just cruising home. I wasn't speeding. I was just cruising, taking the back road home. And all of a sudden, a deer just jumped out in front of me. I turned the corner, and there he was. All I remember seeing was a body, an eye, and a nose. Everything went solid, and I don't remember nothing else after that. And I felt this a little bit after that. I felt this pressure in my forehead, like God was turning me back on and said, "Oh, not your time yet. Let's wake you back up." And when I woke up, I was in terrible pain, and I could hardly breathe. And there were 3 people standing over top of me, and one of the guys was saying, "Hold on, man. The paramedics is 1 minute away." And I said, "What happened?" I was just on the ground. So I know I had been out for a while because they took my goggles off, they took my helmet off, my gloves off, and I was just laying in the middle of the road. And thank God there was somebody there, because I could have easily had been run over, because my bike was about 30 feet down off in some ravine or something like that. And so
they wouldn't even known that you had been on a bike. I guess, no, you had on a helmet, so maybe they realized.
Yeah. Somebody took my helmet off. Somebody took my goggles off. They took my gloves off. And they may have been checking to see if I was breathing. I was barely breathing, because when what I wind up damaging in my body, I broke my collarbone. I fractured my ribs in the front ribs on my left side. I broke all of my ribs in my upper back, which punctured my lung. My lung collapsed, and I could barely breathe. I was just trying to breathe, and I dislocated my ankle from my leg, and I had to have 2 surgeries. I got 3 plates and 15 screws in my ankle, and I broke every bone in my foot, every bone. So I was pretty messed up for a while, and they took me straight to shock trauma. I spent the week in shock trauma, and I was just doing everything I could to get out there, because I knew I would not survive in there, because I had a tough time eating the food. Even though the people were great, it was just not my kind of place to be in. So I knew that I had no underlying conditions or no illnesses or anything like that. So I had to do what I had to do to try to get out of that hospital so I could get home and allow God to heal me.
Mm-hmm. How long were you there?
I was in shock trauma for a week. They were trying to keep me longer, but because I had no underlying conditions, legally they could only keep me there to help to manage my pain.
You
and
said
I
4 weeks?
No, 1 week. Just 1 week.
1 week. Okay.
Yeah.
And then did you have to still stay in the hospital, or you were out totally after 1 week?
After 1 week, I came home, because the only thing they could do in the hospital at that time was just manage my pain. And I knew that, with the right medicines, I could do that myself at home.
Okay, good. Well, Pierre, how long ago has that been? And when? Tell me now, carry us forward so I can find out how you got this new album done.
Yeah. So it's like, it's been like 8 months, but yeah, I was back to work after 2.5 months. I was just going stir crazy, and I didn't have anything to do. So that's when I really started to focus on, writing some music. And that was the only thing that I felt as though I could do to, to try to make progress in my life and to try to distract myself from all the pain that I was going through, as far as nerve pain, bone pain, all of that. I mean, it was just, if 10 was the worst you could take, I was getting 15s and 20s all night long. I don't know how many nights of just nothing but tears, because the pain was so severe. The only thing I could concentrate on was writing my music. And I wound up writing a song called Life Goes On, because no matter what happens to us, guess what? Life goes on.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it does. And so now your pain is gone, or you still have some?
Well, I still have some, but for the most part, I had to really, really clean up my nutrition completely. So I don't eat red meat, or I don't eat pork, but I gave up bread, I gave up pasta, I gave up all processed foods, and just started eating real food. I mean, real
mm-hmm.
food. Mm-hmm. I took glucosamine sulfate, which helps for the bones to heal. I took calcium, magnesium, and zinc, also helps the bones to heal. And I took yucca as an herb to take away the pain and inflammation in my joints. And I also had a friend of mine that gave me 100% pure nutmeg oil to help me to deal with the nerve pain that I had. And that really worked. But it's pure and with $100 an ounce.
Oh, my goodness. I might need some of that, too, Pierre.
Pierre, it works.
At the end of our show, we're already at over 12 minutes. At the end of our show today, we're going to hear a little bit of one of your songs. So let us take a moment and listen right now.
What don't kill you makes you stronger.
Trying to make it any kind of way. Trading time for money, and we still getting half a cup of honey. Freaky things happen to us all. No one lives in from life. Crazy pitfalls. Rich or poor, we're knocking on heaven's door. Make your gods your core. In my own major reason. One choice away from living or dying. Sometimes we're happy, and sometimes we're crying. It's called life. We all need someone in our lives to inspire us to thrive. Let your gut intuition be your internal guide and take the ride. In my own major reason, I'm trying to get what you really want to get.
And so I'd like to thank you for being my guest today, Pierre.
Oh, I'd like to thank you, Lyndia. It's always a great pleasure. And I look forward to hearing the broadcast. And you're such a great friend. And you know, I think about all the amazing times and fun times that we had, you know, when we were hanging with Les Brown. And if there's anything that I can do to help you, you know, in any kind of way, or your fans, just, you know, you can email me, you know, to pierrep50@gmail.com.
Okay. Are you back doing any bodybuilding yet, or are you not able to do that yet?
Well, I'm back. I'm definitely back training. I'm actually able to do almost everything. You're just not at the intensity or and the weight that's working.
Yeah,
but
you back started again. Thank the Lord for that.
Yeah,
well,
thank
you for being my guest today. We're out of time. We only got a 30-minute show. I'm going to go to my close. Words, thoughts, and deeds have a boomerang effect. So be careful what you send out. You do become what you think about. And Scripture says, my people perish for the lack of knowledge. I want you to tune in again next week. We are actually, I forgot to mention it. I was so excited, but this is our anniversary month. We came on Radio 1 on June 8th, 14 years ago, but I count 15 because I was on a year for Barbara Simmons. So we've been on here for 15 years, and I thank and praise God for keeping us. And so next week we'll have another exciting show for you. And this is Lyndia Grant saying, until next week, good day.
Thank you for listening to The Lyndia Grant Show. Think on these things with your host, Lyndia Grant.